Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. But a downfield shot to Aiyuk. A foot race. They won't get it. Wow.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Happy Wednesday to everyone here. First things first, if you're new to our channel, make sure you lock it down over at thepaintedlines.com for everything Eagles draft and Eagles draft targets. Today, I want to talk to you about Eagles draft target Brandon Aiyuk, looking for speed and yards after the catch at the wide receiver position. Arizona State wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk is one of the best in the 2020 NFL Draft. How does Brandon Aiyuk fit with the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's take a look. Let's look at Brandon Ayuk's college performance. Brandon Aiyuk was an underrated prospect starting early during his college career. Brandon was a star wide receiver at Sierra College, where he played 2 seasons and averaged an impressive 16 yards per catch. In 2017, Brandon Aiyuk had 60 catches for 960 yards and 14 touchdowns. Ayuk was also a weapon in the return game, returning 2 kickoffs for touchdowns and averaged a staggering 38 yards on 11 kickoff returns. Despite those statistics, Ayuk wasn't even ranked as one of the top 100 JUCO prospects in the country. The 6'1", 190-pound speedster officially moved on to Arizona State University in 2018 and quickly acclimated to the speed of Division I. Brandon Ayuk played all 13 games for the Sun Devils, finishing with 33 receptions for 474 yards and 3 touchdowns. During the Las Vegas Bowl his junior year, Ayuk showed signs of things to come. Finishing with 9 catches in a loss versus Fresno State. Brandon Ayuk had his breakout season in 2019 and broke a handful of school records at ASU as a receiver and as a returner. His 65 receptions and 16.14 yards per punt return was 8th best in single-season school history. Ayuk's 1,192 receiving yards was 5th best in single-season school history. His yards per catch jumped from 14.4 in 2018 to 18.3 during his senior season, which was 3rd best in the Pac-12. According to Pro Football Focus, Ayuk averaged 10.9 yards after the catch this past season. His 710 total yards after the catch were 5th most in the country. Brandon Ayuk saw the majority of his snaps playing on the outside. 540 of his 655 snaps were on the outside in 2019. His 31.86 yards per kick return this season was number 1 all-time among returners in ASU school history. Brandon Ayuk had 4 games of at least 7 receptions and 5 games of at least 122 yards in a game this season. A hip injury kept Brandon Ayuk off the field during the Senior Bowl in January, but his recent measurements has wowed the scouts. Despite being only 5'11" without shoes, Ayuk recorded an impressive 81-inch wingspan. For comparison purposes, that is just 1 inch shorter than Calvin Johnson. Ayuk's combination of speed and length could potentially make him one of the biggest high-risers in this year's NFL Draft Combine. Let's take a look at Brandon Ayuk's current draft projection. He is 24th by CBS Sports, 24th by NFL.com, 30th by Sports Illustrated, 30th by Pro Football Focus, 31st by Bleacher Report, and he is not ranked via The Athletic. What does Brandon Ayuk bring to the Philadelphia Eagles? Brandon Ayuk is one of the biggest home run hitters in this year's draft. Ayuk has the explosiveness and the big play ability to get him selected in this year's first round. Brandon Ayuk's elite ability to gain yards after the catch and stretch the field is something that should very much interest the Philadelphia Eagles. Even further, Ayuk projects as an elite special teamer, which I am 100% positive opens the eyes of Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman. As I stated several times during my player profiles for Henry Ruggs III, Jalen Reagor, and Devin Duvernay, the Eagles must bring home at least 2 dynamic wide receivers out of this year's draft. When watching tape of Brandon Ayuk, he seems to have the same second gear that Jalen Reagor and Henry Ruggs III possessed during their routes. Ayuk also brings some versatility on offense, as he can be lined up on the outside or even in the slot. What are some areas that Brandon Ayuk needs to strengthen? Beating press coverage. The good news, this guy is pure speed. He's difficult to catch once he hits that open field. The bad news, he's widely ineffective once you get a hand on him. Improving versus tight man coverage will be the focus point for Brandon Ayuk once he puts on that NFL jersey. I have no doubt that Ayuk is going to struggle creating separation off the line of scrimmage when dealing with more physical corners in the NFL. Also, experience. Brandon Ayuk is a very raw wide receiver prospect with plenty of room for growth. It was only a few years ago when Brandon Ayuk played defensive back at Sierra College. He's got a lot of room to grow in his route running. He's got to become more fluid in and out of his breaks. However, Brandon Ayuk has shown real improvement every year. What are my expectations for 2020? Among projected first-round wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk seems to be the forgotten one. But make no mistake, this prospect is no consolation prize. Howie Roseman said he wants to retool the roster with an injection of youth, and the Eagles have a lot of holes to fill. Trading back a few spots in that first round, selecting Brandon Ayuk, and getting another pick in that second or third round is an extremely intriguing scenario for the Birds. This would be a best of both worlds option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Ayuk feels a major need on the outside, and Howie Roseman receives more ammo to wheel and deal and move up in that second round of the draft to grab someone he wants. Personally, I go back and forth with this situation every day. Is it better to sit at 21 and take your guy, or do you risk it, trade back and hope one of Jalen Reagor or Brandon Ayuk falls in your lap? It's a difficult call to make, and I'm just glad that I'm not the one making it. During his NFL Combine press conference, Howie Roseman certainly didn't sound like a guy who was going to stand pat at 21 in this year's draft. What would you do, Eagles fans? Trade a second or third round pick and get a guy like Henry Ruggs? Stay pat at 21 and select Jalen Reagor? Or trade back and get some more picks and select Brandon Ayuk? It's a hard decision to make, but Brandon Ayuk has consistently proven the doubters wrong since his time at Sierra College. Does Brandon Ayuk belong in the same conversation as Henry Ruggs III, CeeDee Lamb, or Jerry Jeudy? I'll let you decide. This is no doubt one of the higher upside picks in this year's draft, and he would look plenty fine as a deep threat right next to Carson Wentz. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out thepaintedlines.com for everything Philadelphia Eagles and the NFL Draft. Make sure you hit like and subscribe below. I'm Dibes, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.